Gundam.tk presents HG Dorado. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2B's Gundam Reviews.net, and this is the final part of my review of the high-grade 1/144th Dorado from the second generation of Gundam Age. You've already seen the parts and the unbox and the actual mobile suit, so now I made a list of good and bad things so that you can decide whether you want to add this to your HG Age collection. So to kick things off with the negatives, and we'll go bottom to top here, the feet are going to be great visually in terms of the fact that they've got a lot of purple and black details, things that you wouldn't see on an AG, that's for sure. But in the end, they're just going to move around too much and they're just too small to have this guy supported. You can get around that by using aerial poses or the tail to prop him up, but it would have been better just to have some better designed feet. I remember that the Gafran had some pretty ugly feet, and this guy, they have not improved. In a few other ways too, you've got this waist skirt, and one thing about it is it just seems a little bit wasted because you've got a whole set of side armor under there and you're just not going to see it. So you've actually got these parts here which are sort of, they're attached onto the waist, not the actual tail, but you're just not going to see the side skirts, and it seems a little bit strange. You've got a green jewel there which could have used a little green seal underneath just to bring it alive. You're not going to see that. No articulation whatsoever with the chest, which is a little bit disappointing. These parts on the back, they are going to move, which is good, but they're not going to move all that much. And the arms, they're just going to be pretty much what you'd expect. One thing I'm not too crazy about with these triple Vulcans, though, is that they've just got these parts. Unless you're actually looking at them from the right angle, you're not going to actually see the business end of the guns. And they look more like gauntlets, I'd say, than actually guns. You got to give them credit for putting these parts on, but it would have been nice if they had moved around. Could make it ever so slightly more dramatic. My biggest plan, however, is going to focus on the whole beam rifle tail idea. They've already done this now, and when you've done it with the Gafran and you've done it with the back toe, when you're getting into your third suit with a beam rifle tail, you'd think that you'd be improving things along the way. And I actually had more problems with this one, it seems, with these things falling out, not bending in the places that you want it to be. These little things are going to fall off in places, and it's not going to be that great a weapon. It is good. It's a very interesting idea to have your tail come forward and shooting out of that. However, you just think that with their third attempt at this, that they could have done something better, add some more points of articulation or fix the ones they have. Don't have it fall off, or at least change it. It's a little bit skinnier here than the Gafran is, but overall, it's a little bit disappointing. And if you're going to treat these as the main weapon, I think it'll be okay. But it would have been nicer if they had just utilized this to its full potential, and I look forward to seeing what they do with the rest of the Veigans in terms of that. Are they going to get better, or are they just going to stay stuck in the same rut? So how about this for the positives? For a few of them, starting with the visuals at the bottom, I really like the way that the legs are going to have the purple around the ankle part there. I'm talking about the top of your socks, if you want to call it that. Basically, to have that kind of color differentiation is a good thing. It's just disappointing that that's not going to come across as being so good for articulation. The Adidas stripes, I really like them on the back of the legs and the back of the thrusters. They're just going to stand out when you see it, especially if you've got it on a rotating base. And who can't say that these skirts are better than the Gafran's dress? I've really got to give kudos to whoever said that in the comments section. Yes, they're not that posable, and yeah, it's a little bit overdone. It seems like there's a little bit too much plastic there, but it's not going to get in the way. And everything about it is going to look better. This is a more effective soldier looking than I'd say that Gafran with those awkward things that are not going to pose, and they're not going to get symmetrical, and they're not going to go where you want them to be. Overall, the chest is going to look good, and that's thanks in no small part to the fact that it's got those little tiny purple pieces which are pointing forward, covering up the chest blaster, which is looking good. The shoulders are a little bit understated, but I think that sort of adds to the cool effect. The hands have always been cool for all of the UE suits, and I do like the triple Vulcans because they're at least trying something new. It really bulks up the upper body to have those weapons on there. They don't look all that great, but they certainly are more interesting than the Gafran with its skinny wrists. Throw in the fact that the tail is going to be cool. Let's talk about the positives. It can prop it up if you use it as a three-point stance, and you can also do it in the lower form or over the shoulder. I think the over the shoulder one is going to be a lot more fun. You can actually have him look like he's holding it if you put on these ones, although it doesn't make sense that he'd have his Vulcans out. But anyway, it's still going to look good up there, and I think I really like the head design in this backpack. Is deceptively simple, and yet it really helps bring this thing alive. All of the seals on the head are going to look good, the black seals on the side, and the green UE eyes. They certainly are cool. I love that sound effect. The commander fin and that extra little spike on the back, I'd say that overall this guy's upper body is looking pretty sharp. So my final verdict is going to be, it's fun to put this guy together. It's not repetitive because the plates are all unique to this Dorado. You don't have any redos from the Gafran. But overall, I'm going to say that it's just, it's not that exciting overall. I do really like the color scheme. That's probably the best thing about this. I do like the fact that they try to add weapons. But overall, having built a few UE suits, I like the back toe a lot more than the Zetis just because it has that villain, it has that more of a villainy feel, absolutely, especially when you're watching it in the anime. Is this a step up on the Gafran? Yes, but believe it or not, I think that they've lost something by taking away the transformation. I wasn't a big fan of the Gafran's transformation until I saw it, and the beast mode is sort of cool, much better than the Zetis. But this guy seems like he's added a few things, but just taken a few things away. Yeah, outside of the color scheme and the fact that he's got those better skirts, I would say that the Gafran, he's not a big enough step up. So unless you're a big fan of grunt suits, this may be somebody that you can actually give a pass on in your HG Age collection. And when I give that verdict, it's also based on the fact that he's got bad ankles and bad ground poses are not going to help anything. And the fact that these things are just getting a little bit repetitive, throwing some beams or change these up a little bit more than just putting on 4 pieces of plastic. And I think you could have had a real improvement in the grunt department. But then again, one reason why you might want to add them to your collection is just to have this kind of colorful bad guy assortment. I really gotta say that that purple is probably my favorite color of them all. Well, unless you want to go with the Zaku green that we seem to have there with the back toe. Anyway, the ZSR and the red suit that's going to be coming out in the future should be a nice addition. So anyway, everybody, what about you? Future speculation. I'm going to say that if we're getting a Master Grade Gafran, is a Master Grade Dorado possible? I'd say if they had remolded the Gafran, I'd say that maybe it is. But at this rate, who's to say? You'd think that a Zetis might be a little bit more popular of a choice, especially with the R recolor possibilities. So the Dorado may have an HG and not much else in its future. Anyway, everybody, why don't you let me know what you think of this? Is it a good bad guy in the anime? And are you enjoying it in terms of the model? And how does it stack up compared to the rest of the UE? I've still got to give the edge to the back toe, but maybe that's just me. Anyway, love to hear from you with a comment down below about the anime, about the mobile suit, about the plastic model, and of course, about this video. Please give me your feedback. It's always appreciated. Thanks for watching, everybody. Robert184. See you next time. I wonder if the Zetis has tail envy.